It's neat to discover something you haven't seen in a while, isn't it, Rachel? Yeah. I do that sometimes. I look back at some talks at different times in my life. Think, where was I at that moment, in that time in my life, and what was I thinking? Where was my consciousness in that particular place? And as you said, then you unitized it because you learned things along the way. It's like, wow, I've grown, I've expanded it into something new and different. Are you focused on the dolphins right now? Anybody love dolphins? Ought to be every hand in here, actually. Right? But some people, dolphins are their thing too. There's a dolphin thing, and I'll share with you a little bit in a little bit about how that connects to today's talk. But I just want to spend some time spending a little bit further of a lesson into the power of the I am. When you hear those words, I am, what do you typically think of? What do you think of when you hear I am? Anyone? An affirmation, I am, and you fill in the blank, yeah? Vivian? Yeah. A child of God, I am. Oftentimes, though, don't we habitually get into the habit of saying, I am, as I said earlier, tired, worried, fearful. I'm celebrating, I'm happy, I'm joyful, we fill in the blank. However, those of you that have been into the depth of the spiritual study in your spiritual toolbox, I am, capital I, capital A, capital M, is the God consciousness. The I am. Now think of it in that terms. It has a different vibe to it, doesn't it? So I invite you, if you're able right now, to go ahead and stand up. Like, ooh, what kind of service is this? We don't just sit through the whole thing. No, we're going to do some exercises. So just think about that for a moment when you're going about your day and you say, I am running late, I am tired, I am joyful, I am excited, I'm about to go to somebody's house for a party, I'm this, I'm that. So think about how that is and how often lately we probably are saying things like, I'm tired, frustrated, fearful, worried, anxious. We do that in our lives, don't we? Yeah, all of us. Now stand firmly in your power on the ground, feet planted apart. Drop your shoulders down and feel the power of standing there. And I invite you either, if it's comfortable, for your hands over your heart or out in front, palms up. Now feel the I am. You can say that if you choose. I am. Nothing to be followed with that. It's the I am. The remembrance of the power of the I am that is part of you too. That divine spirit, that God consciousness that is as us. I am. Together. I am. You may be seated. Just giving you the action of what it actually means. And we don't use it that way very often. We usually fill it in with I am, all these other things that describe what we're going through at a particular time. But if we start consciously thinking about the power that goes along with I am, we might do something different with that. We might make a different choice. Paul, when he was writing to the Corinthians in 3:17, wrote, Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. You've heard that at different times in your life. Now, when Paul's writing, if we look at Paul speaking to the Christ Jesus, the ascended Jesus at this time, we're looking at the Lord through unity lens, through a new thought lens, as the Lord being the highest state of consciousness. So when you think of the Lord, you can think of it as the highest state. So clearly, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Because in that space, aren't we truly free from all the bonds, the shackles, the lack, the limitation, the things that we put ourselves through? We are free in that space. It's not something to be granted to us. You win an award, so therefore you're free. It's something we can claim in any moment, at any time. It's not outside of us. It's in this now living breath. Think about that. Take a breath. I'm free. There's some power there. Probably some work to do there with those words, isn't there? Because oftentimes when I talk to people about what does freedom mean, I hear all the stuff, all the surface stuff, all the earth stuff, all the worldly stuff, of course. And I believe as a people we've made huge leaps and bounds in that world. And sometimes I say, or have we? But I think the greater question is, have I? Have I made leaps in understanding freedom within myself? That's a question for us. Love and kindness, if you're asking, well, what's the path to really getting this I am? What's the path to peace? Great mystics and teachers, and also Pema Chodron wrote a book about it, that love and kindness are the path. Love and kindness are the path. I bring up dolphins with this I am for a few reasons. Dolphins are the essence of joy. No one can argue with that. Peace and freedom. I read a little bit more about dolphins for those of you that know a lot about them or a little. They live with grace, intelligence, and connection. They roam freely. They actually resolve conflict within their own pods very gently. Did you know that? Isn't that something? They express joy through play. If you've ever seen them surfing or spinning, or their laugh-like sounds, they are made as a symbol of emotional depth and unbound living. Other highlights that have been studied, that they are extremely intelligent and they're very emotional, self-aware and empathetic. Wow. This beautiful creature, this mammal, this beautiful creature is empathetic and socially complex. They truly are free because they swim vast oceans, they leap for joy, they know no borders, but when pods move into other waters that's not waters where they typically are, they move in with curiosity, with a slower pace and respect. Observers have witnessed them going into different waters in different areas as they slow their speed, and then they observe and they're curious about where they're going at this time in their groups. They have peaceful bonds, and as I said earlier, they resolve conflicts in their pods with ease and grace, and they resolve gently. They play for joy, they surf, they spin, they make laugh-like sounds, and for pure entertainment, they spin and leap out of the water. So I bring that up because that's the symbolism of amazing freedom, the way they are structured, the way they work together. In our tradition, in unity, freedom is not something, as I said, that we wait for. It's something that we claim right here, right now, and it begins where? In the I am, in the consciousness of each one of us. The I am awareness. The I am awareness. Because we can become bound and shackled by our own thoughts. How many of you are familiar with the 5 principles? You've heard those words, haven't you? 5 principles. I'm not asking anyone to recite all 5 principles. But we have cards, our business cards, on the way out. You can pick them up to, what is unity about? If you look at those 5 principles, you get it in a nutshell right there. But principle number 3 is really what this is about. It's about the thoughts that create the world in which we live. So in the I am aspect of it, if I am in a space of fear, anxiety, worry, anger, frustration, could I be creating the world in which I live that looks like that? Possible? Yeah. We can become bound and shackled by our own thoughts, by our limitations, by all the things I wished I would have, could have, should have. Especially about the others. If that group of people would just get it the way I get it, then we might have peace and harmony in the world. What is that? That's a limitation on someone else, isn't it? It's very judgment too. This kind of freedom isn't loud. It doesn't need a spotlight, and it quietly transforms the way we live, choose, forgive, speak, and serve, because this is a liberation of the heart, which was some of the lyrics in Rachel's song. A liberation of the heart that happens the moment we remember who we are. Remember who you are. You've heard it at most every sermon in this ministry since the beginning of time. Who are we? Some might say a precious child of God, divine beings, expressions of the infinite spirit. We are also having a lot of human experiences, aren't we? Yeah? Do you lately have a lot of human experiences going on in your life? Oh, of course. Don't beat yourself up for it. Realize this is the human and the divine balancing. The reason why we go to classes, the reason why we go to faith-based communities, Sunday services, especially in Unity, it's about an educational component. It's about giving us things that we can do a deeper dive to see where can I grow in my I am, in my consciousness space. Where can I do that work? Saying, I am free. Say that with me. I am free. But then you have to ask yourself later, do you believe that? There's work to do there. It's not resolved in one just lovely statement on a Sunday service. I am free. Sounds good, feels good, but there's work. I am free. I am peace. Not I am searching for freedom. I am searching for peace, but I am free. I am peace. I am love. I am unlimited. We can follow it up with free to be. Simply free to be. Think about that. Free to be, to live, to love, to be kindness in action. And think about that. What does that look like? How do we shift and change the world if we're not doing the work within ourselves? Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with who? Yeah, we sing it every Sunday. Do we just sing it or do we use it as a lesson? Let it begin with me. We've always got work to do. There's a simple illustration of this. There's a little girl. She's in school. How many school teachers are in here? Yeah. So some of you may know some of these illustrations. So the teacher asked the class to do an assignment, but first let me tell you about this little girl. She lived in a small town, smaller than a Dallas-sized town. And so what she knew was her world, her bedroom, her friends, her backyard. The cul-de-sac she lived on, the big oak tree at the end of the street where the park was that she went to and she loved. She went to school. She loved her friends. Occasionally they would go to the grocery store, maybe just outside the grocery store, but they didn't travel too far. Grandparents came in. So her world looked like that. It was a wonderful world. She was a very happy little girl, but the teacher gave her an assignment. And she spun this magical, wonderful marble globe and talked about all these shapes on there. And the kids would just see this big, beautiful marble and they would spin it. Did you ever have kids in the classroom spinning it? All these places. And she told them about these fascinating places internationally. And so she asked them to write letters. Write letters to another child about your age. So she wrote letters. The teacher mailed it. She waited. One day a letter came back. A letter came back and she opened it from the child and it was talking about all the things that this child did in their own world. And then it went on and on about birds. When I go outside, I love birds. I look up at birds. I see birds. And then they started exchanging letters, drawing pictures of birds, painting birds, talking about birds, the birds they see in their house, the birds they see that got in their house, the bird that grandmother chased out of the house with the broom, the bird that's in the park, the bird that's by the oak tree, and all these bird stories were going back and forth. And then the teacher asked all the children to bring up all the things that they were working on together, and there were all these different stories, and their world was expanding. One day she went outside and she looked up at the stars in a different way. She looked at the moon in a different way. She looked at the birds in a different way and thought, I wonder if these stars over my world are the same stars over their world. That moon over theirs. All of a sudden, do you see the expansiveness that was occurring for her little world? Her small world had grown into something bright and white and full of life, all because of one brave, simple choice to believe there was more. Something beyond the world that she thought she lived in. It was much bigger and brighter and colorful. She never saw birds in the sky and trees anyway the same again. Freedom is like that. We've just experienced this holiday weekend for so many that begins when we say yes to something bigger, even if we don't truly understand it. And that's the work in spiritual communities, I believe, that it's diving into a spiritual principle, saying that sounds good, it's a principle, thoughts are creating in my mind, that means one presence, one power, our first principle, whatever it might be, but it's a deeper dive that we're here to do. Unity was founded on an educational system. Then people got together and said, let's call it a church. And then church became normative church services. But it was really about the education component of diving deeper so we can go higher. Does that make sense? So that's the goal that I have here at Unity on Greenville. That's the goal Reverend Barbara has here at Unity on Greenville. And something phenomenal is happening today, Megan and other board members. Where's all of our board members? Raise your hands. If you look around, you'll see them. There's Lisa, and there's Marion, there's Valerie, Megan. Something phenomenal is happening in the life and the era of this church today. After the service, the board and I are going to gather for a sacred covenant and the signing of a contract as senior minister for the church. Today's the day we'll be doing that. Yes. And it is a sacred covenant. It is agreement. Yes, the membership. Yes, everyone said yes, and it's a new position, new job, etc. But there's a sacred covenant as we grow and we work together. And it's about spiritual lessons. It's about seeing how we navigate together, all of us in community, on boards, in the world. How do we do that? How do we build trust? How do we navigate this new era together at Unity on Greenville? But there's so much more than just Unity on Greenville. Do you see that? We're navigating something bright and wonderful, like the little girl seeing that there's something more in our world. The freedom is, in this illustration, is not out there somewhere. It's right here, right now, in the moment. The greater question I believe we always have to ask ourselves is, how do I navigate freedom? Do I actually know freedom? And I want to say again that it's freedom from bondage of limiting beliefs about myself, about the circumstances that I'm in, the world in which I live in, and again, the way we may see others. When we continue to see others, the others, whatever you want to call it, that's not oneness, that's separation. And if we truly believe that we are one presence, one power, and we are all children of God, divine light, divine expressions, we may be showing up in different behaviors, yeah, but we are one. Wrap your heads around that and the work that we're called to do there, because the more we reject something, the more we're going to experience, probably get a little bit closer. All right, does that make sense? You've heard that before? What we resist, someone? You've heard that a lot, I'm sure. And all of a sudden, there it is again. I got another lesson to do. There it is again. I got another lesson to do. I need to look within myself. There was so much. There is always so much with the fireworks and the cookouts and everything for the 4th of July. So much celebration. And I wonder what it would be like. Just go through this minister's creative imagination. If we put that much emphasis and that much power into something like World Day of Prayer we have in September. If people came together to light a candle, to truly see that spinning globe that little girl saw, something bigger and more wonderful and peace on earth. If we came together with that much emphasis and enthusiasm about, like we do on things like the 4th of July, do you think it would create a shift? Just a shift in consciousness? I think so. True freedom is, it comes from this illusion that we are separated, that we're just a body, that we are defined by time, and that suffering for so many is an identity. True freedom is a remembrance that we are not the mask. We are the witness behind it. I want to share with you Myrtle Fillmore. As you know Myrtle's going to come out at some point if I'm speaking. In July of 1901, she spoke boldly, and for those of you that have studied Myrtle Fillmore, you hear the healing letters, the very soft kind of spoken affirmative prayers. But she's really bold in this. July 1901, she declared and wrote her personal declaration. Here are her words. We will declare ourselves no longer yielding and in the service of fear and anger, impatience and selfishness and bad habits, but we will know the truth that makes us free. And we will let love be the goddess of our liberty. and kindness the father of our country. Then pain and disease, sorrow and want will never find a foothold, and we will be a glad people, and our patriotism will vent itself in remembering where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. She added a few more bold statements. She said, and we shall think thoughts that are free and fearless and true. We shall not rob ourselves of our divine birthright. We shall not allow any mortal to rob us of it, because we shall stand by the truth, for its seed is in itself. And with great vigor, she said, it's so strange to hear Myrtle say this, but she did. Get on fire with this. Let it be your first, last, and only thought. For her to say, get on fire with this, she sounds like a Southern preacher. Being kind. I invite you to maybe write your own I am statements, your own declarations, something that you can write about your own affirmations, sign it and date it, celebrating the internal brilliance, the firework that you are in the world. And as Myrtle's strong and really bold words that are transformative sink in, like we shall declare ourselves free. Just take that in. She was serious about this work. When you leave today, I've created small reflection cards for you. So as I read these, it's not anything you have to take out and think, oh my gosh, I've got to do this now, because it's not something to resolve or solve. But take these with you. They've got the little dolphin at the corner for you. But there's 4 questions, 2 to begin with. Where in my life have I agreed to feel small, stuck, or limited? And work on that. And what thought pattern or fear has quietly convinced me that that's just how it is? And as you work on those, then gently follow up. What would it mean to claim freedom in that space that you've just named? And what would it look like to live today as if I truly remembered that I'm already whole, already free, already enough? I would say these are a deep dive for you to take with you, work on. I'll be checking homework next Sunday. Reverend Barber will be back with us next Sunday. We look forward to seeing her. Let these questions walk with you this week. You don't need to solve them all at once. Just begin to listen. Because what I have learned is that the first act for spiritual doors to be open is when we truly listen and we ask the questions. When we ask and we listen and we wait. So let these be an assignment for you. Living the I am through love and kindness, we claim peace. So I want to do another affirmation with you if you'll follow along. I choose to live, from the I am, embodying love, kindness, and the freedom already within me. Okay, so Myrtle would say, get on fire with that. So how do we do that again? Yeah. I choose to live. From the I am. Embodying love, kindness. And the freedom already within me. Yeah, there's a little vigor going on there. Yeah, thank you. Always remember, as I close the service, I want you to know, just hear this, that you matter. For those of you that are joining us at a later time on the recording, you matter. Each one of you do. Know that you're sacred. Your sacred birthright is right here, right now, and you are sacred. And I'm so grateful to be right here, right now with you on this journey. And you know what I'm going to follow it up with, don't you? Hands over your hearts. Everyone. Yes, Denise? Rachel? Can you tell I'm a teacher? You are loved. You are loved. If you haven't heard it today, you're hearing it now. Mercy, you're loved. Rachel, you're loved. You are loved. And I am grateful. Thank you all. Thank you.